Here to talk about this and so much more is Congressman Andy Ogles from Tennessee, the Nashville area, right, Congressman?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. Next week's going to be exciting. It'll be a stark contrast to Joe Biden, bumbling Biden, in that he can't remember Zelensky's name. He calls him Putin. And on the other hand, you're going to have Trump, who can stand up there for hours at a time, deliver a speech, excite the crowd, has vigor, which Joe Biden hadn't had in years.
Well, you're involved in a big race of your own, and I think viewers would like to know about it because you are under consideration to be the new chairman of the Freedom Caucus in the House. So tell us about the Freedom Caucus and why you want to lead it.
Well, the House Freedom Caucus goes back to the days of Jim Jordan and, Ron DeSantis and Mark Meadows. They got together and really wanted to be the tip of the spear in fighting for low taxes, less government, government accountability. And so we still exist today. We have had quite a few policy victories in this Congress. We haven't won everything, but what we've shown is that when we stand together, we can get a lot done. And, we've all got great relationships within the conference. I myself and many others have great relationship with President Trump. And I think that's important as we go into this next Congress where we're going to win the White House. We're going to win the Senate, and of course, we'll hold the House and hopefully expand our margin a few seats.
Well, in the spirit of Biden, I think the American people are saying, you know what, that was a terrible, terrible performance last night. But anyway, we're voting for President Trump. But on that note, there's a lot of speculation about who might be the VP. What's your opinion on who would be best suited to be President Trump's VP going into the November 5th election?
Well, we've all seen the candidates for vice president. It's an embarrassment of riches that we have so many qualified candidates that can step into that role, can reassure the American people that we actually have true leadership in the White House. Now, my favorite pick, and I've got a lot of friends, Byron Donalds is a great buddy of mine. I do tend to favor Ben Carson, just an amazing individual with an amazing story. He's so incredibly likable, whether it's men, women, black, white, brown, purple, it doesn't matter. He can go out there, and those individuals that might otherwise, maybe have questions about Donald Trump, you need someone like a Ben Carson. But again, Byron Donalds, J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, we have so many fantastic candidates. The president really can't make a bad choice. The question is personality-wise, who does he prefer? Who does he envision himself working with to be that key surrogate? Because look, they can't send Kamala Harris out there to be a leader in the free world. She was the border czar, if you will, and yet we've got 12, 13, and 14-year-old girls being raped across this country by illegals, and she is an abject failure. That's why they're not just immediately switching to her, because they know Joe Biden can't win the White House, but they also know that Kamala Harris can't win either. And I think the bigger issue that the Democrats are facing is what kind of drag is Joe Biden on the ticket? How many House seats do they lose because Joe Biden is performing so poorly?
Well, you're a member of the House, and something happened in the House yesterday that really disappointed so many of us who want transparency and truth in government, and that is the Republicans tried but failed, right? Failed in their effort to censor Merrick Garland and hold him in contempt for failing to hand over those audio tapes so we could all hear what the president actually sounded like when he was talking to Robert Hur.
Yeah, no, it was terribly frustrating. We had 4 Republicans who opted not to vote for that measure. And that's the contrast is, I can't speak for them why they did that, but we've got to have accountability in the government. Look, we've seen these abuses, this persecution of Donald Trump. We have a 2-tier justice system. I was one of the individuals that traveled to New York to be with the president, to be in the courtroom, to show my support and to say, look, we're here with you, Mr. President. We're going to fight. We're going to fight with you, and we're going to fight for you. And so we need that transparency. We need those audio tapes. We really need to know what's going on behind the scenes. And to not vote for this, to not fine him, and that was what the measure would have done, but it would have fined him on a daily basis until he complied. It's important that we do it. I think it's going to be brought up again. We had a number of members who were absent, a couple because of funeral, one was in the hospital. And so I think when we come back, so Ana Luna, she's a friend of mine, she's a hard worker, and she is determined to bring this back, to get another their vote, and I think will prevail this next time around.
Well, we know that President Trump will be the nominee, and he's setting the stage. We're seeing reports, or hearing about reports rather, that Dana White will be the last speaker before President Trump takes the stage. Is President Trump signaling, yes, he is ready to take on this fight going forward? Because there's no one better than possibly Dana White, the UFC CEO, setting the stage for possibly the biggest fight in presidential history. What say you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, what a subtle message to have such a scrappy fighter. What a story that the UFC had in its evolution to become really a mainstream sport, and to have him up there to stand with the president. And again, to send that message, as subtle as it may be or not be, that we're going to fight. We're going to fight for you. We're going to take this country back. Look, we all know that the world is less safe today because of Joe Biden. Russia, Ukraine, China, Taiwan, Iran, Hamas, and Israel. We have issues in Haiti. We have issues in Africa. All around the world, the bad guys, the bullies, are flaring up. They're doing what they do because they know they can push around Joe Biden. And to have Dana White up there to say, you know what, we're back. We're literally going to take the gloves off and we're going to come kick your butts. I think that's the right message. And look, again, I have to go back to this southern border. So I just dropped a bill yesterday protecting our women and children that raises the penalty if an illegal immigrant rapes a little girl. That individual, that illegal, that monster is eligible for the death penalty. And we've got to send a message to Central America and South America. You've sent your murderers and your rapists here to our country. They're attacking our women and children, and we've had enough. We're not going to roll over and take it. Now, the president might be willing to, but I'm sure not. If I have to choose between our wives, our daughters, our sisters, and our mothers, I'm going to choose an American citizen every single time. This is our country. We get to decide who comes in, and we get to decide who has to leave. I've got another bill which would create the largest deportation in American history. I've talked to the president about it. He agrees. We've got to start deporting these individuals that are here illegally. They've broken our laws. They're burdening our healthcare system and our education system. Again, if I have to choose between an American child and an illegal, I'm going to choose the American child. I just am. It's my country. It's your country, and I have a right to do that.
Well said, Congressman Andy Ogles. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. God bless.